Hey, DT here, back with you for range session number 2 with the new clubs. I'm going to take you out to the range. We'll do a full debrief. But first, we've got the Rapsodo Personal Launch Monitor hooked up to the iPhone app here. And we're going to take a look at my favorite shot. It's an 8-iron, again, playing with the new TaylorMade P790 irons. And here it is. So launch angle 21.7 degrees. Ball speed 109 miles per hour, and just a easy breezy 8-iron there, 154 yards. If you recall, I used to be hitting my 7-iron an average of 147 yards, and that was a pretty pure shot. I like it. So if you recall, after 30 years, I did a professional pro bag fitting and got outfitted with a whole new set of clubs. Super excited to be getting back after it and taking you on the range. So we'll head back out there. Again, I've got the Rapsodo Personal Launch Monitor set up probably, I think it's 6 to 9 feet behind me, and that's tracking all my shots. And so I'll take you through what that range session looked like. To back out for just a moment before we dig in here, so when you go into the Rapsodo app, you've got a number of different views that you can look at for each session. You can look at an aggregate of every ball that you've ever hit and pulled into their system. This one, I'm looking at the individual practice session itself, and you can see how many shots I've hit at the very top of the app there. And then it can take you through kind of club by club. I can scroll across and look club by club, and if I were to click on one of those, it would pull down just those particular shots. And then underneath that, you're looking at a dispersion map or plot map, and so you can see that similar to that number 1 session that I had, I'm going right of target, and that's based a lot on what appears to be a launch direction issue that I'm trying to work through and trying to figure out. And then there's another top level view that also gives you a kind of a flight path view. And so you can see kind of the flight path of all the shots that you hit. I really like this dispersion view. It's pretty cool. And so just as a reminder, I got a whole new set of clubs after 30 years, and I went with the Callaway Jaws Raw Wedges. I did that in 54 degrees, 50 degrees, and 58 degrees. And I did the TaylorMade P790 irons 4-through pitching wedge. I did a TaylorMade Stealth Hybrid, 5 hybrid, and 3 wood. I did the Ping G425 Max Driver, and I did a Scotty Cameron Phantom X putter as well. And I've got everything in the 2022 TaylorMade Stealth Pro staff bag. It's actually sitting right back there behind me. You can kind of take a look by the lightning bolt there. Anyways, again, continue to feel a little pretentious coming out to the range, but it is what it is. It's really fun to get back out there. So I'll cruise through. I've got the app here, and we'll just talk through some of these shots. So again, I used to carry a 55-degree Texas wedge is what it was called. Again, my high school golf coach made me all my clubs 30 years ago made out of Golfsmith component parts. And so I had a 55-degree wedge that I used to hit in my parents' yard and just hit these towering flop shots and things of that nature. So I like warming up with this Callaway Jaws Raw 54-degree wedge. You can see in the upper right corner of the screen there the 54-degree wedge, and that's really cool about the Rapsodo. You can just click on what club you're hitting, and it tracks everything for you. So warming up here with this 54-degree wedge, hitting some decent shots, I thought, early on with this. Again, in the back of my mind, thinking about that launch direction that I struggled with in range session number 1. I'll leave a link to that card up here for you to check out, where I was seeing launch direction go quite a bit over to the right with a positive launch direction angle. And yet still with the 54-degree wedge, 75 yards here, hitting some good, I think, shots. I like that launch angle there. starting to swing a little bit harder. As you can see, ball speed starting to tick up a little bit. 74 miles an hour, 88 yards, 79 miles an hour, 93 yards. Oh, that's if you remember maybe from range session number 1, got this water tower over to the left of the range, and sometimes the Rapsodo, not always, but sometimes it picks up the water tower as a ball, so you'll see these crazy ball flights sometimes. Anyway, moving through, still hitting some good shots with a 54. That one was a little right and kicked up the ball speed there, and we're up over 100 yards now. Now we're moving into the 9-iron. Starting to hit that. Good shots. Launch direction, or excuse me, launch angle, not that hot there. Hitting those right around the 130 mark. But definitely better this time around versus the range session number 1 with launch direction, it appears. And in a moment, I'll tell you kind of a couple of things that I was trying to work on. So yeah, just camping out right around 130 yards on the 9-iron. I think that's a little weak, and this range session actually took place a few weeks ago, so I've seen some differences that we'll walk through in an upcoming video. So then bumped up to the 8-iron, and first shot there, 136 yards, so slightly better than the 9-iron. If you remember back from the first range session, oddly, I was hitting my 9-iron and my 8-iron the exact same distance, which was perplexing to me, to say the least, and somewhat frustrating too. So what I'm trying to work on here, and we'll start to see this as I get into maybe some of the longer clubs. And this is where I think it starts really working out for me. So as you've probably seen on other YouTube videos as well, this angle of attack is something that I've been thinking about and kind of trying to research a little bit more. And so the idea of, with irons, you're really trying to control your angle of attack so that the bottom of your swing is actually in front of the ball. And so you're coming down on the ball and hitting ball, then turf after that. And that's when you're going to start to see significant increases in distance. And so here in this particular session, one of the things that I was trying to think about actively during these shots is trying to bottom that swing out in front of the ball. So I was actually not trying to pay attention and look at the ball. I was trying to look at something, either a small piece of grass or something in front of the ball, probably a ball or 2 ball lengths in front of the ball, so that I would strike ball first, then turf, and take a divot. And you can see here that, previous shot was 132. I'm not really changing that much. I did up my swing speed a little bit there, but I go up to 154 yards, so that's great. You'll start to see here catching some turf before, so really need to start to actively focus on hitting ball then turf. And it's not something that is coming extremely natural to me, but it's something that, when you do catch these good shots off of an 8-iron, 156 yards, that's great for me. And then, now up to 162, really starting to lean into that angle of attack. So that's really impressive from my perspective. And then start to chunk a few. And then now working into the 7-iron. And with 7-iron, I remember during my full bag fitting, I was hitting 7-irons just over 170 yards carry. And in my first range session, wasn't hitting anything close to 170 yards. Here, first shot out of the bag, 166, another 166. I'm not swinging terribly fast here. Ball speed has picked up to 116 there. But then you do have these scenarios where you're catching a 7-iron 114 yards, just hitting turf way before ball, catching that completely fat. And so similar again, just hitting behind that ball, 133, then starting to get a little bit more pure with it. Slight draw to that one. So distances are not great on the 7-iron, hitting some in the 160s, but not great launch angles here, in my opinion. And now I'm moving up to a 6-iron. I think this is actually the first time I've hit this 6-iron. I don't think I went this low in the bag on my first session. And so starting to hit some decent 6-irons. Working on that angle of attack and catching some of these kind of fat. And that was, I think off the tee, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if I can. That may have been off the tee. I mean, that was 189 yards for a 6-iron. That's pretty strong for me. And so now working off of the TaylorMade P790 irons, I'm going to start to work my way into my woods. We'll start with the TaylorMade Stealth Hybrid. And so hitting these off the deck, 198 yard carry, 133 mile per hour ball speed, launch angle 11.9 degrees. This one goes a lot higher. Same amount of carry almost. And then I just end up smoking one. 218 carry. That's what I used to be hitting my driver, was 218. And this is a 5. And I'm smoking it. 218 carry. That felt good. Unfortunately, then drop it back down to 200. And then that 177. Just not the greatest of swings. I think as I get deeper into these range sessions, I mean, keep in mind, summer in Austin, Texas, it's over 100 degrees. I'm a pretty fair-skinned guy, so I'm covered up pretty well so I don't get sunburn, and it gets a little warm. I think I'm getting a little fatigued, but here I'm pulling out the Ping G425 Max Driver. The sound I've talked about before, the sound is amazing. So carrying 227, this one 222, 211. $238. That's not bad. All right, and so now I'm hitting the 3-wood, the TaylorMade Stealth 3-wood for the very first time. That was 208 yard carry, not a great swing at it. 217, launch angles 8.5, really getting quite low launch angle, but decent carry. During my Pro Bag fitting, I was carrying the 3-wood about 230, and so I'm not making great swings at it here. And again, with angle of attack, you should be taking a divot with every single club in your bag except for driver and putter. And so again, here I'm trying to think about, if I'm teeing this up, I'm not teeing it up terribly high. I'm focusing on the bottom of my swing being in front of the ball and trying to really hit ball, and then with a very small amount of divot in front of that. First few swings at the 3-wood, not bad, but not the greatest. And then I go back to, it looks like 6-iron here. I'm hitting a few more 6-irons. And here I'm going to the 50-degree Callaway Jaws Raw Wedge. 106 yards, 84 mile per hour ball speed, 109 yards. Caught that quite fat, 78 yards. Same there. All right, so that's range session number 2. had a good time getting out there. I was working on, again, that angle of attack, making sure that the bottom of my swing was a ball or two ahead of my ball, so catching ball then turf. Really excited to hit that 3-wood for the very first time. Again, keep in mind, if you go back to my previous set of clubs, really old clubs, I think my 5 hybrid is bigger than my old driver. Having the Rapsodo Personal Launch Monitor out on the range has been game changing for me. It's something that I've always wanted. With my vision and poor vision, I'm not able to see my ball flight, and so having the ability to actually see what's going on with what I'm trying to work on is just so beneficial. And so I'll continue to lean into the YouTube videos that I'm checking out, and I'll be reaching out to some of these folks soon, and that'll be a new kind of area of the channel that I want to try and develop a little bit further, is engaging with other golf YouTubers. And so that should be fun. But also I'm thinking about going into GOLFTEC, doing a full swing evaluation, and really leaning into data-driven video analysis of my swing in order to incrementally get better and have a little bit more fun out there. So that's going to be neat. Hey, if you like this kind of content, please drop a comment below, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe. That helps me know that I should lean further into this kind of content. So thanks so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it.